Hey everybody, we're going to talk about 2 Samuel today. Not really. We're going to talk about an account that's in 2 Samuel about God, about how he works, but we're going to start with King David because pretty much everybody has read about King David. So I'll give you a little backstory. King David had a son, several sons, but one named Absalom. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Absalom. And Absalom had his brother killed 2 years after his brother, one of David's sons, raped Absalom's sister, Tara. Anyway, David's son raped his own sister by a different mother, which was Absalom's sister. And so a couple years later, Absalom had that son killed, and then of course he fled to save his own life. And also there's mention in the Bible that says that David chastised him and sent him, kept him away after that, did not allow him to come back. But he mourned for him. David loved his son Absalom, and he mourned for him, and eventually after a couple years, Absalom was brought back, and he was deceiving. He'd meet people at the gateway coming into the city who was coming to David to seek judgment and advice, which was one of King David's roles, and he would tell them, nobody's here to do that, but if you would appoint me judge, then I would help you guys and take care of this stuff. And when they bow to him, he would kiss their hands. And so he just tricked the people into finding favor with him and loving him, so that eventually parts of the kingdom named him king instead of King David, and was acknowledging him as king. So King David and a large part of his troop actually had to flee to get away from his own son, because he was just mischievous and mean and trying to take the crown. So this is where we get to the story I want to tell. When David was fleeing, many of his men wanted to go with them, including 2 priests. And so we read at the end of 2 Samuel, 2 of the priests was Zadok and Jonathan. Do I have that right? Okay, correction. Jonathan was son of Abiathar, and it was Abiathar and Zadok. Those were the 2 priests that David left behind, kind of to be his eyes and ears and eavesdrop for him. And so then whenever David's confidant wanted to flee with him, David also said to him, his name was Hushai, Hushai, Hushai. I want to say the names don't matter, but they probably do. But being able to pronounce them correctly, I'm sure everybody says them different. But Hushai. David told Hushai to go back and tell Absalom that, hey, my allegiance is to you now because you're the king, and not to David because David's not the king, and to earn his trust. And that he had people there with him that would support him. He's like, you're not going to be by yourself in there for me. Zadok and Abiathar are there too, so you guys go and work as a team. So here's what happens. Absalom asks, or somebody puts a bug in his ear. That person ends up killing themselves because he doesn't listen to him. I don't know, that's weird, but somebody puts a bug in Absalom's ear that, hey, while David and his troops are weak, now is when we should go attack and kill them. And Absalom said, that sounds like a good idea, but let's seek the advice of Hushai. Let's seek the advice of Hushai. He's our advisor now, our confidant. And Hushai wisely says, no. Don't do that, because you know that David and his men are strong fighters. And probably David's not even with them. He's hiding in a cave right now. So if your goal, based on the advice of this person, which was go and only kill King David and bring all the people back so that they could serve the new king and work for him, probably making bricks and stuff usually, that's not going to work because David's probably not even there. And they're really strong fighters. So potentially it could backfire. So you need to wait, gather more army, gather more people from Israel to fight. Remember, this is a civil war. This is Israel against Israel. People. So people of Israel against people of Israel, different clans, different tribes. But still, well, not really, because now this is Absalom, the son of David, his own child. But so he's like, why don't you gather more people and then go after him? And Absalom said, yes, that's better advice. We're going to listen to you. And so then what happens here, this is honestly, I babbled all that to babble this. This is the chain of events that I feel is so important and I want to talk about. So Hoshea tells Absalom, go gather your troops to attack David, so that it buys him time. Then Hoshea goes and tells the 2 priests that were left behind on David's behalf, hey, this is about to happen. Tell David, get his people out there and muster his own troops. So that's one person, Hoshea, that God used. And now this chain of effect and chain of command by God goes from Hoshea to the 2 priests. Well, then the 2 priests send a servant to go tell 2 men, Jonathan and Ahimaaz, Jonathan and Ahimaaz, this is where Jonathan comes in, to go tell David. So there's this whole effect of the number of people God used to make his plan work. So Hoshea, he tells the 2 priests. The 2 priests tell a servant person. The servant person is sent to tell Jonathan and Ahimaaz, Ahimaaz. And then it doesn't end there, because on the way they get spotted, and so they end up having to go to the house of a man in Bahurim, Bahurium. I can spell words, I just can't say them. And there, the wife of that man hides these 2 men, Jonathan and Ahimaaz, in a well. And they get down in the well and she covers it with cloth and puts dirt on it or grain or something, so they don't even know there's a well there. So when these men come looking for them and saying, where are these men? She's like, oh, they went on about their way. They're not here. So safely they climb out of the well and continue their mission and go tell David, hey, this is what's getting ready to go down. I know that's really lengthy. I don't know how to simplify to get to the story of what's happening here, but the point to me as I read that was, I always feel like that I have to do everything myself. As a writer and a book publisher, self-published, well, my girl Ashley at Happy Scribe Media made my book happen, honestly, but it was still a lot of self-work, and a publisher didn't pick me up. I don't have a promo crew that promotes my book. Like, everything's on me. And so many times I feel like we have to ask people, if we're being called by God to do something, it's all on our shoulders. And maybe sometimes it is, but I think we have become a world where, because of social media and because of YouTube videos where we can self-teach or be taught through video and learn ourselves, we feel like we should do everything by ourselves. It has really put an unnecessary burden on us as people that we feel like for me, I just feel like sometimes I can't accomplish enough. Like, I can't do enough. This was a wake-up call to me. The number of people that God used to accomplish this one task is amazing. Just the effect of this person to this person to this person to this person before this got done. And to me, it was a wake-up call, and I hope it is for you guys too, that God uses a group of people for one task. So if you're a book writer, if you're a writer, be a writer. Be the creative side. Let God tell stories through you. And let, editors edit. Now that can be, I say that hesitantly because I paid an editor thousands of dollars, over, $1,600-$1,800 to edit. And then my girl Ashley and I ended up having to put a lot of stuff back and change things. So, but there are people that are really good at social media. Let them be good at social media. I'm not. There are people that are really good at book cover designs. Let them be good at book cover designs. I'm not. Photography, I have Sheena Penley Design and Photography with her bud Jake. They do great work, but, and I know that's a shout out, but I'm sorry. I'm just saying that, actually, I'm not sorry. It takes a team. It takes a lot of burden off of you if you can say, it's not just me. I have a role to play, but I can let everybody else play their roles to get to this finished task that the God has for all of us. We all have a role. And that can be, I'm talking about writing because I am a writer, but it can be anything. It can be your church group. It can be planning a field trip for your youth. It can be heading up your household as wife, as husband. We don't have to do the last step. We don't have to do the middle steps, but we do have to do our step. We do have to do what our role is. And we need, I think, in today's world, stop confusing what our role is and what our gifts are and what our talents are, and meshing them together so that we feel like we should do it all ourselves. Because God gives us each gifts and ideas and goals. And I heard somebody just say, it doesn't matter if other people understand it, because it wasn't a conference call. It was between you and God. And you need to listen to what God tells you your role is and do it, and let other people do their part, and work with people that have the same goal as you. That's important. Work with people that have the same goal as you, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself intertwined in something that you're like, what the heck happened? This isn't where I wanted to end up. This wasn't the end all be all goal for me as a Christian, as a follower of God, as a child of the Almighty. This wasn't where I was heading, but I brought the wrong people in who was going a different direction and had different goals. It is important to surround yourself with people that have the same goals. But once you do that, once you're confident that the people that are in your life or was brought into your life through Christ, then let everybody do their work to chain effect people to get God's work done. Let's work together. Anyway, that is my thought. A little lengthy, but there you have it. Do what you will with it. Have a good day.